Hey Grande Alive! Happy day before Cinco de Mayo! This is your weekly Newsish Roundup, brought to you by Grand Run Hospital, Northwest Furniture and Mattress, AnythingToDigital.com, and EONI. Construction is well on the way for the new Central Elementary School. About a year ago, construction began a multi-story building right next to the high school, which is slated on completion to be the brand new, totally groovy Central Elementary School to replace the old school just below the hospital. And this week, we got to have several of the educators at Central Elementary and elsewhere into the studio to talk about the new school and some of the state-of-the-art plans they're trying to put in place when it's done.
The new elementary school will be 2 stories, so it's 54,000 square feet, and it's a lot bigger than our current school.
Now, one of the coolest elements of the new school is what's called the sensory classroom. The sensory classroom is an outdoor classroom which is designed to help engage students' full sensory range. See, touch, hear, smell, and even taste. There will be sandboxes where kids can feel the sand, magnetic walls where the kids can move around magnets and engage their touch. There will be gardens where students can bring plants and vegetables from beginning to consumption to learn the process of gardening, and so much more. And Landon, one of the special education coordinators at the high school and one of the main dudes behind this sensory classroom, said really the main goal is to get kids engaged in education.
I've really viewed this whole thing as this is a classroom. It just happens to be outside. And being outside, we can do, we can be a little bit more creative with the learning tools that we use, like the sensory tables and having the raised sand bed so that if we have a student in a wheelchair, they can get right up to it and get that tactile input by playing with the sand that any other kid could. And one of the themes for this whole space, this whole outdoor classroom, is to make every square inch of it as accessible to a student that may be in a wheelchair as one that is not. Being the teacher of the students with the highest needs, those are the kids I work with every day. And I see the struggles that they have in understanding things without being able to interact with them. And so, concepts out of a text, very hard to relate that to a kid that may have a processing disorder. If you're able to, have some manipulatives there, something they can touch and move around that represent, maybe a number, maybe you're teaching math, that's huge for those kids.
Now, the money for this classroom doesn't just come from selling Girl Scout cookies and peanut shells. Susie and Landon are actively engaged in fundraising. And this weekend, they're hosting a superhero fun run, 5K and fitness fair at the Mountain Valley Therapy Saturday morning to raise money for the classroom. Run participants are encouraged to dress up as their favorite superhero and run. Participation is $20 for pre-registration and $25 at the starting line. A bit expensive, but if you like what you've heard, it's going to a good cause. Plus, after the race, a bunch of local businesses are going to have booths and games you can hang out, play around, and just otherwise spend a nice Saturday morning with the family. Race starts at 10:30 p.m., registration is 10 a.m. Grande Alive will have more on the Central Elementary story as it develops. This title story was brought to you by... Last week, we here at Grande Alive got to attend the DoLittle Raiders Gala. The Gala was a celebration in Pendleton of the DoLittle raids that happened just after Pearl Harbor, raids in which American bombers struck back in a morale-building raid to get back at the Japanese for their unprecedented attack on Hawaii. At this event, there were speeches, presentations, different types of aircraft, and so much World War II memorabilia. And on top of that, we got a behind-the-scenes look at one of the B-25 bomber airplanes that was at the event.
This plane comes from the Erickson Aircraft Collection in Mattress, and it's one of a couple of dozen warbirds that they have, and the Pendleton Air Museum essentially contracted with Erickson to bring this plane here. Pilots, several of them were taken prisoner. I think 4 or 5 of them were killed as a result of crash landing. None of the planes were able to make their target landing point in China because they had to take off about 500 or 600 miles earlier than what they'd initially planned.
Okay.
And then a lot of the planes landed safely in China and were harbored by the Chinese, and then later were rescued or reunited with other forces.
Maybe they...
during the night on the computer stuff.
Yeah, and they can use each one.
I'm looking forward to that thing.
Last Saturday, as many of you saw via our online live stream, the Quail Run Inn went up in flames. Many people watched in horror as the building was engulfed, leaving nothing but a charred skeleton of the motel and little to be salvaged. Here's some footage of the fire. Now, according to the Observer magazine, nobody was hurt in the event, but 36 people and 1 dog lost their rooms and had to go elsewhere. According to Larry Wooldridge, chief of the Grande Rural Fire Department, the fire was likely started by a water heater somewhere in the building. Also, according to the Observer, several people had been living in the hotel and were evicted by the blaze. For more information on this story, be sure to check out the Observer's front page story on the blaze in Monday's paper. And stay tuned to LaGrandeLive.tv for more local live stream drone coverage of breaking news events. So what else is coming up this weekend? Well, I'm here to tell you with Emily Adair from Go Magazine in this week's Get Out and Go.
Hi, I'm Emily Adair from Go Magazine.
I'm Will Bowman from Grande Live, and this is Get Out and Go.
This week, the Grand Ronde Symphony Association will close out its chamber concert season with a performance right here in La Grande. The chamber concert is called Stories and Poems and will feature a recent graduate of Eastern Oregon University.
Also in La Grande, Art Center East will open a new exhibit called Lost in Transition, paintings by Hirofumi Glover. Glover is known for his artistic cabinets, floor coverings, and doors. The show opens with a reception on May 5th.
There are also some benefit events coming up. First, a Mother's Day dinner will benefit the Senior Meals and the Meals on Wheels programs. Then, an annual book sale will raise funds for the Student Advocates for Gender Equality and the Gender and Sexuality Resource Center at EOU.
Looking toward Baker City, the Eastern Oregon Regional Theater will hold a production of The Spitfire Grill. The mysterious musical includes live piano and guitar music.
Baker City's first Friday Art Walk is this Friday, and more than 10 galleries and businesses are set to participate this month.
And finally, the Baker Public Library will celebrate Free Comic Book Day in 2 ways. First, the library will be giving away free comic books. It will also host a Boise cosplay called Alkali Lake. She will be on hand for a meet and greet and photos, as well as a workshop for making cosplay armor.
For more information, pick up a copy of this week's Go magazine, which is inserted in the Observer and Baker City Herald. We're also online at GoNortheastOregon.com and on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
For more local content, check out LaGrandeLive.tv. Thanks for tuning in to Get Out and Go. The La Grande Tigers baseball team had not 1, not 2, but 3 wins this weekend, stomping their way through both Baker Powder Valley and DeSales. They beat Baker Powder Valley 2 games, 5-4, and 11-0. They also trashed DeSales with a similarly scored win of 10-0. Elgin also cooked it this weekend, beating Heppner-Ione 2 games, 9-4 and 16-11. And just when the Valley was on its way to a complete 180 from the total losing previous weekend, Union couldn't bring it home. They lost all 3 of their games this weekend, 2 versus Grant Union 3-8 and 1-11, and another against Weston McEwen 0-19. Ouch. And with that score, it's not a far stretch to say they probably would have lost their second game against Weston McEwen if it hadn't been canceled because of weather. Union Cove is slated to try their hand at winning against Heppner-Ione tomorrow, Friday at 11 a.m. La Grande and Elgin's next games are Saturday when La Grande plays McLaughlin and Elgin plays Weston McEwen, both for 2 games. In softball, La Grande also swept the weekend, beating Baker Powder Valley 2 games, 16-0 and 8-5. Elgin, on the other hand, couldn't keep the streak. They lost 2 games versus Nissa, 2-12 and 3-13. Union, though, unlike their baseball counterparts, did bring the Valley some wins, smashing Heppner-Ione out of the park 2 games, 11-0 and 15-1. Union is slated to play Monroe tonight, Thursday at 5 p.m. and Culver 2 games on Saturday. Elgin is slated for Grant Union Dayville Prairie City tomorrow at 1 p.m. and La Grande squares up against McLaughlin Saturday, 2 games starting at 1 p.m. And here's your EOU sports and Around the Mountain in 90 seconds.
I'm Evan House.
I'm Chris Duarte.
May the 4th be with you. This is Around the Mountain in about 90 seconds.
Softball's coming off a doubleheader split with number 18, Southern Oregon. In Game 1, Shai Barker broke a tie in the top of the 7th with a 3-run double for the lead and eventually the win. The opening game Saturday, the offense exploded with an 11-run third inning. Highlighted by a 3-run shot from Barker, the team won in 5 innings with Alexis Best tossing the complete game. EOU heads to Salem for the CCC tournament this Friday as they face C of I at 9 a.m.
In the last regular season meet before conference championships, the EU track and field team reaped 8 first-place finishes in the Boys State Border Clash. Elizabeth Herbies took first in the 400-meter dash. Katie Emerson won in the 400-meter hurdles, also winning first the women's 4x100 team of White, Jolly, Reddington, and Current. Morgan Reddington then went on to win the long jump, while Harley McBride went on to win in the high jump. For the men, Jabari Cumberbatch took numero uno in the 100-meter dash, and the 800-meter Thomas Morrell won the event, hitting the NAIA standard. Finally, Nick Mass took first in the steeplechase. The squad heads to Ashland May 12th through the 13th for its CCC championship.
That's a wrap here for U Athletics. Stay tuned next week as we take around the mound in about 90 seconds.
For more information, visit us at www.eusports.com.
And be sure to tune in to Grande Live every weeknight at 6 p.m. for 2 hours of your most recent Grande Live local content. And that's your weekly Newsish Roundup. This roundup was brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress, Grand Ronde Hospital, AnythingToDigital.com, and EONI. Please like and share this video and tune in to LaGrandeLive.tv for more local content. I'm Will Bowman.